Meet Harjinder Singh, who entered the United States illegally from the Mexico border in 2018 and then got his CDL license in the state of California. Well, here he is driving in the state of Florida, where he decides to make an illegal U-turn and crash into a minivan, leaving a family of 3 deceased. So a lot of people are now rightfully wondering, why is it that people who don't speak English are driving on our roads?
ਐਕਸਪੀਰੀਅੰਸ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਅੰਕਲ ਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਚੰਗੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਮਝਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਮਜ਼ਾਕ 'ਚ ਸਮਝਾ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਸਕੂਲ ਵਧੀਆ ਇਹ ਕੰਮ ਤੇ ਵੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਜੀ ਤੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਕੋਈ ਦਿਹਾੜੀ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਟੁੱਟੀ ਤੇ ਵਧੀਆ ਆਪਣਾ ਪਾਸ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਹੀ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੌਖੇ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਿੱਖਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹੋ ਤਾਂ ਅੰਕਲ ਨਾਲ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਸੰਪਰਕ ਕਰੋ ਫਸਟ ਅਟੈਂਪਟ ਜੀ ਪਾਸ ਕਰਾ ਦੇ ਜੀ ਅੰਕਲ ਨੇ ਅੰਕਲ ਗ੍ਰੇਟ ਹੈ ਬਈ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਚ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਆ ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ
Okay, so they're celebrating getting their CDL license, and the only thing that they have to say in English is thank you. So this is absolutely crazy to me, and I'm going to tell you why if you don't already know. Because cars, first of all, they're not even the same as driving a massive semi-truck. A car weighs 4,100 pounds, whereas a semi-truck weighs 25 to 35,000 pounds. And so they do not stop as quickly. They cannot do the same type of maneuvers. And on top of that, when I went to go speak with truck drivers, they understand why it is important. And by the way, I'm in Colorado where I made this video, and a lot of people here speak English. And so usually when you go up and speak to a random person, they speak English. But I was surprised that at the truck stop, out of the 7 people I spoke to, a few of them didn't speak English. And they had really strong accents. Their English was okay. But they shared with me, the English-speaking truck drivers shared how important it is. And they shared multiple crashes that probably the general public hasn't even heard about. So there's crashes happening more often than we'd probably like to think. And when I asked this guy what countries they're coming from, these are the countries he told me. But not only do I want to show you the countries, I want you guys to recognize that 92% of Americans, we own cars. It is our form of transportation here. However, in the countries that they're coming from, not only do they have no clue how to drive these massive vehicles, a lot of them don't even have experiences with tiny cars, with little smart cars. 7.5% of Indian households have a car. And this guy told me that there's a lot of truck drivers on H-1B visas probably that are driving here. A lot of Indians is what he said. And a lot of Russians as well. I spoke to a Russian when I was at this truck stop, and 55% of Russians drive cars. And so maybe a lot of them don't even have experience with a car. Saudi Arabia doesn't really have a percentage of how many people drive cars there. But yes, 7.5% of Indians don't drive cars. Have cars. And so 93% of them don't drive cars, but yet for some reason we're allowing them to drive a 35,000-pound massive tank rolling down the highway at speeds exceeding 70 miles per hour. Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida addressed the crash that I was telling you about.
Mike, that is really, really cold, but it raises these issues of, in Florida, what we've said is, we're not giving licenses if you're here illegally. We're not giving ID cards. In fact, you can't even do like these NGOs want to issue. We don't allow that. We don't recognize California driver's licenses. And so we're creating a situation where following the law is the right thing to do and violating the law is the wrong thing to do. Now, California, they do it differently. They invite people to come illegally.
I really encourage you guys to watch that truck driver's video, because on top of that, this guy was explaining to me that they're paying for their fuel or they pay for their repairs. Meanwhile, American truck drivers have to pay for their own gas, and they have also made it so all of these people coming to drive trucks here have made it so they're getting paid less per hour. So this is really not beneficial to American workers or to American family safety on the road.
Provide benefits. They provide a lot of different things. I mean, honestly, some of them get treated better than
Yes.
blue-collar Americans out there with their policies. So that ends up attracting, it creates more of this. And it's frustrating because here we are in Florida. We are doing the right thing. I mean, in the legislate, I've got Jay Broder and these guys have helped us craft these policies. Blaise Angolio is now the chief financial officer, instrumental working on some of this stuff over the years. We've worked really hard on it. And then to have like a California send this guy in and create havoc for our state, that's just fundamentally wrong. But what it shows is it can't just be like we do things right in Florida and somehow that's going to cure what's happening on the left coast and some of these other places.
Yes, and it is very bizarre because in April, Trump signed an executive order making it so truck drivers need to be proficient in English. And this is common sense. If you don't think that it is common sense, then I guess that you would like our roads to look like this. But I think we all would not like to see this happen in our country. I think it's very obvious and it's a good thing that we speak English and this is how our roads look. And it is the only language that is spoken on the roads. And this is also important for when they do their dispatch or when they have inspections or when they need to get their trucks weighed, all of that kind of stuff. Just communication in general. Speaking English is very important, especially for this job.
Ultimately, Congress has the power of the purse. They do not need to fund you if you're a sanctuary state. They can remove funding from sanctuary cities.
And I hear from Pamela Bondi this morning that they are going to stop funding cities, sanctuary cities that are not complying with ICE or complying with Trump. So I hope that they put their foot down and do it soon.
So stop subsidizing this. You have people that are in Congress that are complaining about what happened. And while I appreciate the sympathy, it's like you guys have the power of the purse. You can discipline these states that don't follow the law and incentivize law breaking. You could do that very quickly. You also can address another problem with this situation. This guy comes in from India illegally across the U.S.-Mexico border, and he claims asylum. Now, think about that. It'd be one thing if, when people, would come from Cuba and they claim asylum, because this was the first place they could get to, right? And you've had situations where this has happened. You're coming from India. How many other countries are you going through? And then you show up in the southern border and say asylum? Like, why didn't you get asylum somewhere else? So
right? I mean, Biden gave everybody an invitation to the ball. Come to the United States. So there was just cities in Mexico at the border that were filled with people from all over the world waiting to come into the U.S. And some of them are still there now.
They're abusing the process and the statutes that we have in the United States of America, and they're trained to do this.
And the thing is they were giving asylum to people before they ever had to prove it. We know of somebody that is doing a spousal visa, and this is an American citizen who was marrying a foreigner, and he was trying to expedite his case, and he was being harassed by some gang, and they would send him messages threatening his life. They would send him pictures of guns and bullets, and he sent this into the USCIS saying, hey, we need to expedite our case because we're in danger. He's an American citizen, and they're just like, oh, no, sorry, not enough evidence. And there are thousands and thousands of cases like this where people haven't been able to actually claim real asylum, Americans in danger, and yet there was people crossing the border and being like, "Oh, we're scared and stuff," but they didn't have to prove anything. They just said, "Okay, well, we'll give you a court date and we'll figure all of that out later." So you have all of these fake asylum seekers, fake refugees, and what he is saying is so accurate. They totally abuse the system, and hopefully Trump can make things right again.
So you have massive numbers of people that have claimed it. Millions and millions have claimed it, just leaving country in Central America. They're not truly Sikh. They're just basically economic migrants, however you're doing it.
Yes.
And so you have this incentive. So he was basically given some type of preliminary determination. They say, okay, you'll have a hearing in 2 or 3 years.
Exactly.
And then it gets pushed, and then it gets pushed,
So
and all this
messed
stuff.
up.
And it's basically a one-way ratchet. You can come in pretty much unfettered. Well, in the past you could illegally. And then if there's any type of law enforcement, it's like this massive bureaucratic maze that you have to go through. And so Congress can address that too. Congress can address the abuse, that we're seeing in this asylum process, because I'd say 95% of the people that are claiming it just factually do not even come close to meeting what should be. But they
I totally 100% agree with him on that. And why is it that not just in the United States, but throughout the world, there's this huge push that we should be allowing people from wherever to come for a better life? And then just putting the lives of the citizens who live there, they make their lives 1,000 times worse. And so it's like nobody can have a better life. But some people think that that is a good trade-off. It's like, oh, well, Americans shouldn't be allowed to live better than people somewhere else. So we should just lower our standard and make the whole world crap for some reason. Why are we prioritizing people who haven't made their own countries great than Americans who have worked really hard for generations, have fought wars, have worked their asses off, built infrastructure, died, just everything that you can think of to make a country great, and then people who didn't do that get to come here, reap the benefits, and hurt Americans? It doesn't make sense. But yet that's some type of globalist agenda, apparently, that we're just supposed to be like, oh, well, you guys can take everything that we had and we're supposed to give it to you freely because we feel bad for you because you didn't do your part, or throughout the generations, you guys never built anything. So go ahead and take everything from us. No, it's not okay. Make sure you are subscribed. And yeah, you guys should definitely check out that video that I made interviewing these truck drivers. That was a really interesting experience. See you next time. Bye.